Coming up in this episode of PWD Allies podcast.
Why do we have a premier, David Eby, that hates his province and hates his country?
PWD Allies, the best disability podcast in Canada. Starring your hosts, Brent Frayne. And as always, his producer and editor, Neil Matheson.
Rant and Rave is back again for 2026. Rant and Rave, everyone. Everyone loves the Rant and Rave sections. Yes, that we do here on PWD Allies podcast. Yeah, it's a very popular episode, and it's a real spicy one this time around. So, whoa, a lot of pink unicorns going to be running around today. But the Rant and Rave doesn't just stop at BC. It goes across every single province in Canada and the territories. You name it, no borders are blocked.
Well, can we start with BC, though?
Sure we can, yeah.
I don't make it much of a secret that I don't like David Eby. I mean that's probably the worst kept secret on the podcast. Is I don't like David Eby that much. But the problem is that he's earned that dislike for me. The last soundbite that he did, he really threw Alberta under the bus, and Daniel Smith, the premier. He's saying that the Alberta is committing treason against the country of Canada.
I heard about that. Yes.
You know, and I know that he's a smart man. I keep saying that. You know, like I know he's a smart man, but then he says stupid crap like that, and then you really wonder about the guy, right? Because
and that's the thing. Is that he doesn't like disabled people either in BC. He's proven that since he took leadership of the province. But
let's stick with the treason thing for now, because that really bothers me. Like that actually, when he said the word treason, that actually got my blood boiling, because you know why? Because here's a guy, like, remember he did that interview back, I don't know, like quite a few months ago, saying all about the Indigenous reconciliation, and it was a televised interview. He was sitting down on camera, and his version of reconciliation, Indigenous reconciliation, was this. He said, "To me, reconciliation is correcting the original colonial mistake. It's all about correcting the original colonial mistake." Those words, those are heavy words, right? And to me, that sounds like a premier and a person and a politician that doesn't like his country or his province very much. Like when you're saying that your country and your province is a mistake.
Wow.
That confederation was a mistake. That sounds a lot to me like somebody that hates their country and hates their province. Why do we have a premier, David Eby, that hates his province and hates his country? When it's about reconciliation, is about fixing the colonial mistake. Like our country, our confederation is a mistake, and BC joining the confederation was a mistake. That sounds a lot to me like treason. That is treason, Brent. Not all this bullshit about Alberta separatists. Like, I know that David Eby knows what treason is, but for him to stand up there and say, "Well, I'm the entitled idiot that knows what treason is," but yet he can blurt out of his mouth, reconciliation for me is about fixing the colonial mistake. that is somebody, to me, when you say that, you're proving to me that you hate your country and you hate your province. And why are you a premier of a province that you hate? That you have to make it, that you have to feel you have to apologize for, that our confederation was a mistake. Like, I'm sorry, we're a mistake. I have to fix this colonial mistake. I'm sorry. Let me apologize over and over and over again. And this whole thing, like, even going back to when he did the Bill 7, like, he did the Bill 7 to ram things through, and when you ram things through, you're circumventing democracy, right? You're saying, well, democracy doesn't matter. We'll just ram it through, like,
without no consultation.
We'll bypass the legislature. We won't have any. We won't talk about it.
Yeah, no debates, no nothing.
When you undermine democracy, that is treason too. And this whole idea about ramming through reconciliation, they rammed through reconciliation with no consultation. It was like, he did the whole change of the Interpretation Act, and what was it, Brent? They debated on it for 14 minutes.
Yeah,
14 minutes.
14. That's it, everybody.
14 minutes, Brent. That to me sounds a lot like treason to me.
Yeah.
When you say, I'm only going to debate something for 14 minutes.
The whole province. I mean, it really affects everything in 14 minutes. Yeah, that's it.
And wow. I know I'm blowing a gasket, but I mean, he has to get real and really understand what treason is, because that pissed me off. That seriously pissed me off. That this man should be a smart man, but he has no idea what treason is. Yet he can throw his own country and province under the bus over and over and over again, like running it over again, and then he has the gall to say he knows what treason is. Excuse me, you have no idea. You have no idea. Step down. You've done so much damage to the province and the country. Step down. Step down. He's an embarrassment. He's an embarrassment, Brett.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, one of the things that we talked about a lot on the podcast is who was the worst premier in British Columbia.
He is hands down now. Hands down.
We used to say that Mike Harcourt, he hated disabled people so much that he'd called them cheats, varmints, and deadbeats. Mike Harcourt. Well, I mean, David Eby, since he's taken over as leader, I mean, he's done absolutely nothing. Every excuse not to raise the rates. I mean, really, people living in legislative poverty, David. I mean, wow. Then you take a telephone interview asking people to call in. I still remember that. Have you looked at the earnings exemptions? We raised that. I mean, if you haven't looked at getting a job, maybe you might want to look at that. I mean, no, I didn't ask about that. I asked about when you're going to be raising the frickin' rates, because my corporate manager kept asking me year after year, hey, did the government give a rate increase? No, why not? Well, you know what? Cost of living goes up. There's been nothing, like no announcement in the budget about taking care of people during a crisis, affordability crisis. Yeah. Nothing. Zero, everybody.
Yeah. The biggest grievous thing is of course the $500 a month for a shelter. I mean, check over your shoulder, Brent, at the pink unicorn. The pink unicorn is mocking you right now. It's mocking you.
Exactly.
Saying, ha, here's $500. Go find a place to rent for $500, Brent.
Yeah, you can't rent anywhere for $500 frickin' dollars in BC or anywhere in Canada or anywhere anywhere in North America.
Really, the idea that you have a shelter rate pinned at $500 a month.
Oh yeah,
that's insulting. That's insulting.
Putting that shelter portion in, they need to abolish it, get it right out of it. That's old school. It's not working. It's really causing a lot of harm, and it caused a lot of hardship for families and people with lived experience, people who are on the system of income assistance and disability assistance. By putting that in, if you don't have an actual address that you can actually say that you're living at, you don't get that. You don't get that new $500 shelter allowance.
Yeah.
You see $375. Wow. So now you have to live on $983.50. Well, so so now you go and stay somewhere because you can now not afford market rent. Well, when I say you go to stay somewhere, you can stay somewhere in a shelter maybe, or you're homeless.
Yeah.
But you go to a corporate landlord and you say, well, can you rent to me? Well, what is your income? Well, it's $983.50 right now, but if you rent to me, I'll get another $500. And now he's putting red flags up to that corporate manager.
Yeah. Can we remind the minister right now, Sheila Malcolmson, that her ministry is actually called the Ministry of Poverty Reduction? When you have a ministry that actually has the words poverty reduction in it, and yet, like you just said, if you can't prove that you have an address, that somehow your poverty is even more forced upon you. Like, let's take your poverty and like amp it up, like turn it up to 11. Well, turn it up to 11. That's poverty reduction for you. By amping up the poverty, like is that poverty reduction, Brent? Is that what you call the poverty? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Poverty escalation is what it is.
That's what they should rename the ministry.
Poverty escalation.
Poverty escalation.
Yes. Oh,
that is being truthful to the unicorn behind your head, Brent.
Well, yeah, the unicorn would totally agree with me on that. And actually,
I see it nodding. It's nodding its head right now. It's saying yes, poverty escalation. You're right, Brent and Neil.
And and the unicorn. I mean, if you see it, everybody, the unicorn here probably has big red flags up there saying, yeah,
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, they basically corporations are all saying, oh, so if I rent to you, you're going to get another $500. What are you going to live on? I'm sorry, you can't even rent here for that whole check. Oh, how are you going to pay for hydro? Oh, well, as long as I got a roof over my head. Well, the fridge is there, but you can't. The lights are not going to work. Your hydro's not going to work. You need tenant insurance. You need to basically buy food. You need to. Oh, well, now you can go to the food bank. Oh, really? Oh, you can come to the ministry and ask for a crisis supplement. Oh, I'm sorry, it can't be a pre-existing problem. Meanwhile, the same minister tells people to go to the food bank or go to the ministry's office, their own government office, and ask for a crisis supplement. Really? $50 a month. But then you got to beg and plead for $50 a month. But if it was already a pre-existing problem, saying you know that you're going to be short on your income, because we know that we're not going to increase the rates. So you already know that's a pre-existing problem. So you go in there and you say, I need $50. Minister said,
please,
no
sir, can I have some more? Please, sir, can I have some more?
Excuse me, sir, can I please have some more? Can I please have $50? Can you please put it onto my monthly check? No, sorry, can't do that. It's a crisis.
Budget better, Brent. Budget better.
It's income means tested.
You can't find anything to rent for $500 a month, Brent?
Nowhere.
What's wrong with you? Something's wrong with you, Brent. Surely you can find a place for $500 a month. Something is wrong with you, Sonia.
Not even a non-profit. I mean, these non-profits go for even more than that. It's rent guaranteed income. You can't even stay in a hostel. I mean, my God, and then the government wonders, why are so many people homeless on the streets?
You know what else is hostile, Brent? PWD income assistance is pretty hostile.
Oh my gosh, their rates are big. I mean, we thought the disability
$1483.50, right?
Oh,
that's pretty hostile.
Their rates are beyond unacceptable. I mean, they were not even acceptable before. And another thing too is the government took away the disability offices and they blended them all into income assistance offices.
Yeah.
And then the workers at the counter, they just treat the people with disabilities like shit. Yeah. They question them. Then they grill you. I mean, you want just a supplement of any kind. I mean, a clothing supplement once a year. I mean, oh wow, live better. I mean, do better, budget better.
Like you have to beg. Like we have to beg for. I mean, I'm sorry. Like I don't want to beg. I don't want to beg for anything.
I mean, put it onto a person's check. I mean, my God, and get rid of these 5-week months. I mean, that is just beyond
Yeah.
terrible. We just finished going through, everybody, 2 months in a row of 5-week months. Well, actually,
I want David Eby to start begging for his paychecks.
yeah.
He'll say, "Please, Neil and Brent, can I have my paycheck today?" It's like, well, gee, David Eby, do you think you've destroyed the province enough?
Yep,
Do you,
you gotta wait
do you
5
think
weeks.
you think you've earned your paycheck by undermining democracy and undermining our whole society of fee simple property title? Do you think you've done a good job of destroying that, David Eby? Right? Have you earned your paycheck, David Eby, by destroying the province?
Now the court system's saying, well, that's the information that we're going upon because that's what the government passed in the law. So
Yeah, that's what David Eby passed.
yeah, and now
It's our new interpretive lens.
yeah, now they're saying, oh, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
DRIPA is now the interpretive lens through every single piece of legislation now, Brett. Every single piece of legislation that passes through the legislature has to honor that interpretive lens.
Right. Any law, everybody. Any law. It's not just housing. Any law.
That sounds like you've completely pooched. You've completely pooched democracy in this province. When you completely pooch democracy in a province, Brent, what's another word for that? What's another word for that, Brent? I think the word for that is treason, Brent. I think the word for that is treason.
And then people wonder why people are leaving British Columbia. If there was a way that all PWD could leave British Columbia and go to another province, I don't know. Any other province is any better. I don't know. No, definitely.
I'm a proud Canadian, and I love this country. I love this country. I have always loved this country. I love BC, but I'm getting serious. But I'm getting to the point now that I'm like, if I could, I would pack up and leave now because it is like David Eby has ruined the province, and he's ruining the country.
Yeah,
he really is. He really is.
With that being said, I mean, like I've talked to Sonia, we're seriously thinking about the same thing. Like seriously thinking about leaving BC. And just packing up. We're
kind of being silly right now, but I'm talking to my wife about like maybe we should just all move to the Philippines, or Singapore or something,
somewhere where people were treated with a lot more dignity.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna put on rose-colored glasses right now, and I mean maybe I'll put these rose-colored. I'll edit them in or something. I don't know, but you know what? Like
put some horse on me too.
Like I grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and I know you did too. And I mean, we can all wax fantastic about how wonderful it was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s to grow up.
1980s were the best, though.
Yeah, I mean, and you really loved Canada at that point, right? You really understood what I mean, let's go back to, remember it was you had people like Terry Fox. Back in 81, 88, was it 81, 82? I think he died in 82. I might have that a little bit wrong, but
1980, I believe it was 1980.
It might have been 81, And anyway, like that person right there, Terry Fox, he embodied Canada to an nth degree, right? And I was so proud to be Canadian. I was so proud of my province, British Columbia. And I mean, slowly over time, you can sort of see
eroded away.
Things slowly eroding away. But let's put a pin in this and realize that when John Horgan became premier of this province, I was hopeful, and I think a lot of people were hopeful. Whether you had a disability or not, I think there was a lot of hope. I really saw John Horgan as this kind of everyman that had very strong morals. He's a Christian man. He had very strong morals, and he didn't hide from them. John Horgan ran on his morals, ran on his upstanding, he was an upstanding human. He wanted to see the province succeed. And
best way he could, yes.
The best way he could. He wanted to see the province succeed in the best way it could. But for Eby, it's all about me, myself, and I. It's like, what can I do to benefit myself? The very first thing he did when he became premier, Brent, and let's remember, he only won by one seat. He only won by one seat.
22 votes.
And what was the first thing he did? The first thing he did was he bribed the government with $60,000 plus of an increase in salary for the
MLAs.
For the MLAs, and then he doubled down on it by having them sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. So he wasn't somebody that stood on his record. He wasn't somebody that stood on his record and his morals. He was standing on the fact that, well, I have to bribe my MLAs. I have to bribe my MLAs with a salary increase of $60,000 and an NDA to make sure that I keep everybody in line, because I'm not confident in my ability to lead this country or to lead the province. I have to bribe people to convince them that I know what I'm doing. He was only concerned about himself. It was all about me, myself, and I. I only care about me. Let's remember, Brent, if he cared about the province, if he cared about the country, he wouldn't talk about fixing the colonial mistake. He wouldn't throw his own country under the bus and say that our confederation was a mistake.
Wow.
You don't say crap like that unless you're a man wanting to commit treason. Unless that's the case, Brent. Unless you want to be a man, a politician committing treason, you don't say you're all about fixing the colonial mistake because this our country and our province was a mistake. Right?
Right. And and that's going back to about people with disabilities. I mean, were we a mistake there, David?
Well, I think so. I think we're all a mistake. I think we should all just take MAID.
Yeah,
we should just line up and take MAID, Brent.
Yeah, I mean, we're born with the disabilities. I guess I was a mistake too of being a citizen.
We're all mistakes.
Of BC,
and I guess every single BC citizen is also a mistake because we're not allowed to own property anymore. Right. And we weren't even allowed to know that all of this stuff was going. It was all done in secret, Brent. All our democracy, all our so-called democracy, where every vote's supposed to matter, 95% of all the voters in this province were held captive in the dark.
Ooh,
and democracy was completely subverted. And what happened? What is the definition of that, Brent? When you completely subvert the democracy on purpose because you hate your country. That sounds a lot like treason to me, Brent.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good look. It's definitely not the BC.
This is not the BC that I grew up in.
Yep.
And to put a finer point on it, this is not the BC that John Horgan inherited as premier.
Exactly.
This is not anywhere close to the BC that John Horgan inherited as premier.
Yeah, I had a bad dream last night. It startled me. I woke up and I actually had shivers. Everybody, I had shivers for a moment. It was a dream that, I was doing a podcast. It was actually odd that I was doing a podcast and we were rehearsing and pretending we were different MLAs, that one segment. And we were laughing, and then all of a sudden there was the a Zoom link, right? Because we launch it by Zoom, everybody, and so somehow one of the politicians was able to get a hold of that Zoom link, and it was Mike Harcourt had came on. And he says, I still don't like disabled people in the province. They're cheats, varmints, and deadbeats. and I will do anything I can to make sure that I save the province more money, because I want more money in my bank account than people with disabilities, because they're not citizens, they're not residents, and that's why we want to split up the province. We want the province to basically become its own, so I can have full control over it. I don't have to wait for Ottawa, and I can cut everything back, because we want to become our own little country. And I thought, I said, you little bugger. And then David came on at the same time, and Christy Clark came on, and Gordon Campbell came on. They all started coming on,
and they were all congratulating themselves, I guess.
Yeah, and they were pushing me down, like, and they were like, one had his knee on my back of my neck, and I said, get the fuck off me right now. Pardon me, I don't mean to swear on the podcast, but I said, get off me. I said, I'm done. I'm done with you guys. I'm done with you guys. Start respecting me for who I am. And then all of a sudden, some doctor was standing there going, Brent, put his hand on my forehead. You're healed, Brent. You're healed. I'm a doctor.
And then did you fall backwards?
I actually did. That's where woke up. No, I actually woke up, and I remember falling backwards, and I kept falling backwards. That's what freaked me out. I kept falling backwards and backwards, and I was like, whoa, and I was losing control, and then somehow I grabbed the microphone. I was flying in the air. I grabbed the microphone, and I said, I'm here. I'm here, everybody. I'm back again.
Oh, wow.
And I said, you know what? I can't let them get the better of me.
Well, you know what, Brent? I love that dream, and I love it so much. Let's end on that.
Yeah.
Like you've put a little bow on this whole episode by sharing your dream, and I just want to end on that note.
Yeah.
And let's punch out with that, because it was great.
Anyway, thank you everybody for tuning in.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Bye, everyone.